But first, it's a pleasure and a great honor to welcome to Wogan Her Royal Highness, Princess Anne.
The sun sinks behind Windsor's ancient stone walls, leaving the castle draped in twilight the color of bruised violets. The last light fractures through tall, mullioned windows and spills across marble floors, illuminating dust motes that drift like suspended memories. The stillness feels ceremonial, almost reverent, as though the very air braces for history to shift. Within the private royal library, candle flames sway in controlled flickers, sending gold reflections dancing over rows of leather-bound volumes. The scent of beeswax polish and aged parchment rests heavily on the air. This room has witnessed the whispered confessions of monarchs, the signing of treaties, and the silent unraveling of secrets. Tonight, it braces for one more. Princess Anne sits at the grand mahogany desk positioned beneath an immense oil painting of her younger self on horseback. The writer in the portrait is fiery, determined, disciplined. That version of Anne still exists, but age has sharpened her, not softened her. Lines of experience trace the edges of her eyes. Duty has shaped her posture into something unyielding. She has become the family's silent shield, the one least prone to scandal or sentiment. Yet even she cannot ignore the letter before her. The sealed envelope on the desk bears no crest, no formal insignia, only typed initials and a private courier mark. Its lack of ceremony makes it louder than any royal seal could. Secrets rarely travel clothed in official elegance. The most dangerous truths arrive quietly. Anne studies the envelope without touching it. Her breath remains steady. Her face was unreadable, but a tension hangs in her shoulders, subtle and unmistakable. She has known for many years that the past carries debts no crown can permanently bury. At last she breaks the seal. The paper inside is crisp and painfully ordinary. Her eyes scan the header, a private laboratory, a confirmation request processed discreetly and urgently. Beneath the formalities rests a phrase that tightens her throat: mandatory confidentiality. She reads the results. The text is clinical, dry, precisely measured. Yet those sterile words carry the weight of a thunderclap. DNA sequencing completed, chain of custody confirmed, maternal lineage verified, Princess Diana confirmed. Anne's fingers freeze over the page. The fire behind her crackles louder as if the room itself reacts. For a long moment, Anne does not move. Her eyes linger on the signature line, tracing the name of a doctor sworn to secrecy. A silence thickens around her, not peaceful, heavy, the kind that follows an earthquake no one else has felt yet. Then she exhales, slow and controlled. So, it is true. The words fall with the gravity of a verdict. Her mind, ever disciplined, begins pulling memories from the past. Not sentimental memories, but observations, hints, signs. She remembers the tension between Diana and the institution, the way Diana smiled for crowds yet carried a quiet defiance beneath her angelic charm. The world saw a fairy tale. The palace saw a wildfire. Anne recalls a conversation from years ago, a rare moment when Diana spoke without camera flash or curated grace. Her voice had been low, her tone urgent. One day everything will change, Anne, and when it does, the truth will matter more than tradition. Anne had dismissed the comment as another of Diana's emotional flourishes, a romantic idealism unsuited to monarchy. But now, looking at the paper in her hands, she wonders whether Diana had been speaking of this, a secret not meant as rebellion, but as insurance or legacy. Outside, the evening bells toll across the grounds, slow and solemn. The sound rolls through corridors and courtyards like a warning. Anne stands abruptly, pacing the room with measured steps. Her boots click sharply against polished stone. She never liked uncertainty, nor surprises. And Diana, even dead, has delivered one final surprise. But this is not a scandal in the usual palace sense. Not whispers of affairs or disagreements or televised confessions. This is blood, legacy, succession. A secret child confirmed by science. For years, rumors drifted through tabloids and late-night chatter. Fantastical stories of hidden heirs, medical appointments without explanation, brief absences from royal schedules. The monarchy dismissed such claims as inventions of a hungry press. And Diana, with grace and sorrow, never confirmed nor denied. Perhaps she had hoped time would reveal what she never could. Anne stops pacing and looks out through the window. Beyond the glass lies a moonlit landscape, ancient trees, immaculate lawns, centuries of architectural pride. The monarchy exists not simply as a ruling body, but as a tapestry of lineage. Every birth, every union, every loss shapes the story. This revelation threatens to rewrite chapters already etched into national memory. She presses her palm against the cold glass. "What were you thinking, Diana?" Her voice carries neither anger nor softness, only bewilderment and something quieter beneath it, regret. Anne turns back toward the desk. She folds the document carefully, deliberately, yet her hands tremble. A betrayal she notices only when the paper rustles. Whatever truth Diana intended to reveal one day, she never lived long enough to do so. And now Anne is left with the decision she never asked for: to conceal the truth, or confront it, to defend the monarchy, or acknowledge the woman the world loved more fiercely than the institution she married into. A clock in the hallway begins to chime the hour. The sound pierces the silence and reverberates through Anne's chest. She closes her eyes briefly. When she opens them, her expression is different, no longer shocked, hardened, determined. Duty rises where emotion falters. She speaks into the dimly lit room, voice steady as steel. This changes everything. Outside, the night deepens. Winds gather against the ancient stone. Somewhere in the castle, footsteps approach, unaware that history has just shifted in the span of one sealed envelope. And as the candles burn lower, Windsor Castle seems to tighten its grip on the darkness, as though bracing for the storm Diana has finally unleashed. Shadows in the corridors. Morning arrives without softness. The sky above London is a sheet of pale gray, neither storm nor serenity, but something suspended in between. Buckingham Palace awakens with its usual ritual precision. Footmen move silently across polished floors. Silver trays carry tea, correspondence, and tightly controlled agendas. Yet beneath the routine there is a subtle dissonance, a shift in atmosphere, something unspoken. Palace staff have learned over generations to read silence as fluently as spoken instruction. Today, silence feels heavy. Princess Anne moves through the private hallway reserved for senior members of the royal family. Her stride is brisk, expression firm, every inch the disciplined figure the public rarely questions. But inside, her thoughts churn with relentless speed. The envelope and its contents remain locked in a secure drawer, yet the information inside it is not contained. It echoes in her mind like a bell that refuses to stop ringing. She arrives in a small conference room used for confidential matters. The room is modest by royal standards, muted cream walls, a mantel clock ticking steadily, and a round table polished to a military shine. No portraits, no symbolism, only function. Seated at the table is Sir Alistair Pembroke, one of the monarchy's most trusted senior advisors. His hair is silver, his posture immaculate, his gaze calm but probing. He knows something is coming. He has seen the look before, the look of a royal holding a truth no one wishes to hear. Anne sits. She wastes no time. The laboratory report has arrived. Sir Alistair nods, though the tightening at his jaw reveals he does not welcome the confirmation. "And the result?" he asks quietly. Anne's voice remains measured. "It is positive." A breath leaves him, barely audible, but enough to shift the temperature of the room. For a long moment, neither speaks. The clock on the mantel marks the passing seconds with infuriating patience. Sir Alistair eventually breaks the silence. "Your Royal Highness, before we proceed, there are matters to consider regarding optics, public stability, and constitutional implications." Anne raises a hand to stop him. "I am not interested in rehearsed dialogue. I want the truth. How long has this suspicion existed within palace circles?" He hesitates. His silence is answer enough. Anne's expression sharpens. "So the palace knew." "Not knew," he clarifies carefully. "Suspected. There were fragmented reports, unconfirmed sightings, gaps in the official travel schedules, and private hospital records sealed under exceptional instruction." Anne closes her eyes briefly, steadying her thoughts. She remembers the media frenzy surrounding Diana during the final years of her life. Helicopters, flashbulbs, murmurs of rebellion, whispers of her stepping outside the monarchy's control. The world adored her. The institution feared her unpredictability. Perhaps the truth was never chaotic. Perhaps the truth was quietly planned. Sir Alistair continues. "The timing was never right. The monarchy was already strained. Public emotion was volatile. Revealing something of this magnitude could have ignited sentiment the institution was not prepared to withstand." Anne straightens in her chair. "And now?" "Now," he replies slowly, "the situation may be irreversible." A slight tremor runs through the words. "Don't panic." Realism. Anne's voice lowers. "He is alive." Sir Alistair nods, and aware of his heritage, the words feel surreal. For decades, the family has guarded bloodlines as though they were battlements. Every birth is announced to the world. Every death is marked with ceremony. Yet here stands a truth with no announcement and no ritual. A truth unseen, yet undeniable. Anne's jaw tightens. What does he want? This time, Sir Alistair does not hesitate. He has requested acknowledgement and an audience. Anne's fingers curl slightly against the table. An audience, she repeats, as though testing the weight of the request. Not a settlement, not discretion. Recognition. Yes, the fire that once fueled her equestrian discipline now burns behind her eyes. And if he goes public, Sir Alistair meets her gaze without flinching. The monarchy will not shape the narrative. It will be forced to respond to it. The truth hangs between them. Outside the room, distant voices echo through the hallway. A tour group will soon arrive for public viewing hours. Tourists will admire chandeliers and tapestries while oblivious to the earthquake stirring behind locked doors. Anne rises from the table and walks toward the window. The gardens stretch beyond the glass in immaculate symmetry. Order, structure, responsibility, everything she has dedicated her life to preserving. She speaks softly, but the words cut with precision. Diana never belonged to us. Not truly. The world loved her. The institution tolerated her. And now, even from beyond the grave, she remains the force that cannot be silenced. Sir Alistair folds his hands. Princess Diana was unpredictable, yet she understood her influence. If she made decisions without informing the palace, she may have believed time would vindicate her. Anne turns sharply. Or she knew the institution would never permit her choice. Silence answers. She breathes deeply and regains full composure. Duty redraws itself across her posture like armor. I will meet him, she commands. But not here, not under protocol, not as an institution. Sir Alistair nods in solemn agreement. As you wish, Your Royal Highness. Anne steps toward the door, then pauses. Prepare for consequences. Yes, ma'am. Royal history has never been shaped solely by crowns or coronations. It has been shaped by the hidden moments, the conversations no one hears, the secrets that wait for the perfect crack in time to reveal themselves. Now the crack has formed, and in the shadowed corridors of Buckingham Palace, the future of the monarchy trembles quietly beneath the weight of truth. The meeting no one was meant to witness. Night descends over London like a velvet curtain stitched with rain. Streets glisten beneath street lamps, and the world beyond Clarence House seems distant, hushed, as though time itself understands the gravity of what is about to unfold. Inside, light is low and deliberate. Only a few sconces burn along the walls, leaving most of the corridor in shadow. Privacy is not merely preferred here, it is enforced. Princess Anne walks with steady purpose. Her expression reveals nothing, yet an invisible war unfolds beneath her controlled breath. Every step brings her closer to a confrontation she once believed impossible. A discreet equerry bows and gestures toward a set of double doors. Your Royal Highness, he is waiting. Anne offers no reply. She pushes the doors open. The room is elegant yet restrained. A single chandelier casts warm light across tapestries depicting battles, coronations, and ancient vows. A fire burns quietly in the hearth, its glow reflecting against polished marble. Standing before it is the man. He turns as she enters. His posture is self-assured, neither deferential nor arrogant. Something about him radiates familiarity, yet not familiarity born of recognition, rather of inheritance. Anne stops a few paces away. The air between them holds decades of silence. She speaks first. You asked for this meeting, so let us begin. The man nods. Thank you for agreeing to it. His voice is calm, measured, not defensive, not pleading, simply certain. Anne gestures toward a nearby chaise, though she remains standing. Who are you? Not your name. Names can be invented. Who are you in truth? For the first time, emotion flickers in his eyes. Not vulnerability. Something deeper. Memory. I am the son of Diana, and I have spent my entire life living in the shadow of a story I was never allowed to speak. Anne's chin lifts slightly. Many people have claimed such lineage. Most are delusional, some opportunistic. He reaches into his coat, retrieving a small velvet pouch. He offers it forward without touching her. Inside lies a silver locket worn with time. Anne knows it before opening it. It is one Diana used to wear in private, a piece the palace believed lost after her passing. Her breath catches, but her voice remains composed. How did you acquire this? It was given to me, he answers softly, by the only person entrusted with my care after my birth. A beat passes, heavy, unforgiving. Anne opens the locket. Inside is a photograph. Not official, not posed. Diana sits barefoot in a sunlit room, holding a newborn child. Her expression is radiant, protective, and exhausted in the way only a new mother can be. Anne feels the room shift around her. She closes the locket slowly. When she speaks again, her tone is quieter. Why now, after so many years? He meets her gaze without wavering. Because the truth has finally been proven, and because I will not allow my mother's intentions to remain unfinished. Anne's voice sharpens again. What intentions? To change the monarchy, he replies. Not destroy it, not replace it, transform it. Anne stiffens. Diana misunderstood the institution. She thought emotion could be governance. He steps closer, stopping at a respectful distance. No, she understood something the monarchy still resists. People do not want perfection. They want humanity. The fire snaps behind him, casting shifting shadows across his face. In the flicker, he resembles Diana so strongly it unsettles Anne. She draws a slow breath. You must know what your existence means. Public sentiment will shift. The line of succession will be scrutinized. Every royal decision of the past 3 decades will be re-evaluated. He nods. I understand the consequences, but the truth is no longer negotiable. Anne studies him carefully. You do not seek a title? No. A claim? No. A crown? He shakes his head firmly. I seek acknowledgement, nothing more. Silence stretches long and taut. Anne finally moves toward an armchair and sits. Not out of concession, out of necessity. The conversation has shifted from confrontation to reckoning. She gestures to him. Sit, he does. For several moments, neither speaks. The fire fills the silence, its warmth unable to soften the tension. Anne's voice emerges calmly. You resemble her. He smiles faintly. So I have been told. She was complicated, Anne continues. Loved by the public, misunderstood by the family, a force neither prepared to obey nor be contained. His gaze softens. And yet she never stopped believing her children deserved a choice the monarchy could not give her. Anne looks down at her hands. You speak as if you knew her. He closes his eyes briefly. I knew her voice, her letters, her scent on that locket. I knew the ache of what was missing, the silence where a mother should have been. Anne's throat tightens. She looks away. In that moment, Anne was not a princess, nor a stateswoman, nor a guardian of monarchy. She is a sister confronted by the echo of a woman she never truly understood. Finally, she speaks, quieter than before. What happens now? He answers without hesitation. That depends on whether the monarchy wishes to survive the truth or fight it. Anne rises once more. Her expression holds something new. Not rage, not fear, resolve. She extends a hand. We proceed carefully, quietly. No one beyond this room must know until we determine the next step. He stands. And you are willing to take that step? Anne nods once. For the monarchy, she says. But her eyes betray another truth. For Diana, the palace fractures. Morning breaks behind soft clouds and muted sunlight, but the atmosphere inside Buckingham Palace is far from calm. The corridors are pristine and orderly as always, yet something invisible stalks them. Staff move with their usual formal precision, but their eyes betray a heightened alertness. There is an unspoken truth among royal servants. They know before the public does. They always know. Princess Anne walks briskly through the private family wing, her expression composed but unreadable. Years of royal duty have trained her face into a mask forged from obligation, discipline, and restraint. Behind it, however, thoughts churn with the relentless rhythm of a marching drum. She had met him. She had seen Diana reflected in another life. And now the burden of that truth pulls at every decision she must make. A private door opens to a secure conference suite reserved only for the most sensitive matters. No cameras, no microphones, no minutes officially recorded. What is spoken here will exist only in memory and consequence. Inside sit 4 of the monarchy's senior advisors: Sir Alistair Pembroke, Lady Evelyn Marchmont, Keeper of Legacy Records, Commander Basil Hartwell, Chief Security Strategist, and Lord Whitcomb, the family's chief political liaison. Their expressions are solemn. Anne takes her seat at the head of the table. Without ceremony, Sir Alistair speaks. Your Royal Highness, we understand the meeting took place. Anne nods once. And? Sir Alistair exchanges a brief glance with Lady Marchmont before answering. We require clarity. Did he confirm intent? Anne's voice is steady. He seeks acknowledgement. Nothing more. No claim of succession. No challenge. Commander Hartwell leans forward. With respect, intentions can evolve. The world is no longer bound by tradition. If his identity becomes public knowledge, the reaction will not be contained. not by us, not by the government, not by the media. His words are unvarnished, brutal, necessary. Lady Marchmont folds her hands carefully. The late Princess Diana was beloved beyond precedent. If it becomes known she bore a child in secret, public sentiment will erupt. Some will condemn the secrecy, others will romanticize it, and many will demand his place within the royal narrative. Anne remains silent for a moment before replying. He does not seek position. Lord Whitcomb shakes his head gently. With respect, Your Royal Highness, that is irrelevant. The existence alone is enough to alter the monarchy's emotional architecture. The public will form their own narrative, and once they do, we cannot correct it. We can only react. Sir Alistair speaks again, tone grave. The monarchy is already fragile. Public trust rises and falls with unpredictable rhythm. Another shock, especially one tied to Diana, could shift the institution from stability into turbulence. Anne meets his gaze. It is not speculation anymore. The proof exists. The denial of truth would be far more dangerous. The room falls into a tense silence. Then Lady Marchmont asks quietly, "Did you believe him?" For the first time since she entered, Anne breathes differently, a softer exhale, a moment of vulnerability. "Yes," she says, "not because of resemblance, not because of documentation, because his presence felt like unfinished history." A flicker of emotion moves across the table, not fear, recognition. Commander Hartwell clears his throat. "We must consider his safety. If he is who he claims, the world will not leave him alone. Paparazzi, activists, opportunists, foreign intelligence even. A hidden royal is more valuable to the world than a visible one." Anne nods slowly. "Yes, security will be addressed." Sir Alistair leans in slightly. "And the family? They will need to be told, before rumor escapes containment." Anne's gaze sharpens. "Rumor will not escape." For the first time, Lord Whitcomb allows himself a faint, humorless smile. "With respect, Your Royal Highness, rumor always escapes." The comment hangs in the air like smoke. Anne lifts her chin. "Then we move swiftly. Communication with the family must be private, direct, and without speculation. Only facts." Lady Marchmont interjects carefully. "Which facts, ma'am? The science, the emotional truth, Diana's intention, or the consequences?" Anne pauses. "All of them." The table absorbs the weight of her decision. She continues, "Diana lived under scrutiny no human should endure, and still she remained adored, loved not for perfection but for vulnerability. The world believed she represented humanity within royalty. If we deny that humanity now, we lose more than public confidence. We lose legitimacy." Sir Alistair nods slowly, accepting the unavoidable conclusion. "So the question is no longer whether he exists, but how we integrate his existence." Anne speaks firmly. "We do not rush. We do not react, we prepare. This must be done not as crisis control but as evolution." Commander Hartwell leans back. "A monarchy does not evolve easily." Anne's eyes narrow slightly. "Then it is time to learn how." Silence falls again, but this time the silence is not fear. It is an acknowledgement, a shift, a crossing of a line that cannot be uncrossed. Lord Whitcomb finally breaks it. "When will you see him again?" Anne stands. "Soon." Sir Alistair rises with her. "And until then?" Anne walks toward the door but pauses before leaving. Then she answers with quiet resolve. "Until then, the palace remains silent. The world cannot know what we now know. But the truth is already awake, and it will not go back to sleep." She exits. Outside, the great halls stretch endlessly, portraits of monarchs staring down from centuries past. Some ruled through fear, some ruled through reverence, some ruled through survival. Now the monarchy braces for a new era, one shaped not by ceremony, but in truth, the decision. The next evening, the palace is cloaked in an almost sacred stillness. Rain falls lightly over the ancient stone courtyard, and every drop catches the glow of lanterns like falling diamonds. The atmosphere feels suspended between eras, as if history is holding its breath. Princess Anne sits alone in one of the private reception rooms rarely used except for personal reflection or quiet audiences. The fire beside her burns steadily. The room smells faintly of old paper, roses, and polished mahogany. In her hands is a sealed envelope marked with Diana's unmistakable handwriting, saved for decades and unlocked only because the truth demanded it. She holds it gently, as though the paper itself were a fragile memory. A knock breaks the silence. Anne looks up. "Enter." The door opens, and he steps inside. The man whose existence had shifted the axis of the monarchy. His movements are hesitant yet respectful, an echo of someone aware of both boundaries and belonging. He bows slightly. "Thank you for seeing me again." Anne gestures to the chair opposite her. "Sit," he does. The fire crackles softly, filling the silence without intruding upon it. For a long moment, neither speaks. Finally, Anne breaks the quiet. "I have read everything you brought. I have consulted experts privately, and I have spoken with those who knew Diana in her final years. He swallows, nerves visible. And Anne studies him, not with suspicion, with the quiet intensity of someone measuring meaning rather than fact. You are not lying, you never were. Relief floods his expression. For the first time since stepping into the palace, his shoulders loosen. I never wanted to disrupt anything, he says softly. I only wanted to understand who I am and why my existence was hidden. Anne looks at the envelope. There were reasons. Some are compassionate, some strategies, and some tragic things. He watches her carefully. She continues. By the time you were born, the pressure on Diana was unbearable. Cameras followed her like hunters. Rumor became a weapon. Vulnerability became entertainment. She feared what the world would do to you, so she chose protection, not abandonment. A silence follows. Heavy, necessary. He speaks quietly. I grew up hearing only fragments, hints, secrets spoken in half-sentences. My adoptive family did what they could, but every year I felt a pull towards something unresolved. Anne nods. That sense is blood, royal or not, lineage echoes. He lowers his gaze. I understand that revealing the truth could cause chaos. I am not asking for a title. I do not want power. I simply want honesty, and perhaps a place, not public, just acknowledged. Anne leans forward. Your existence challenges the monarchy's narrative, not because you threaten secession, but because you represent something the institution fears, something Diana embodied. He meets her eyes. Humanity. Anne lets out a slow breath. Yes, he studies her expression. So what happens now? Anne stands and walks toward the window overlooking the rain-soaked courtyard. Truth must be handled with precision. If released too suddenly, it becomes a spectacle. If hidden forever, it becomes a scandal. She turns back to him. There is a path between those extremes. It requires timing, strategy, and trust. He waits. Anne lifts the envelope. This letter was written for you. Diana left it in safekeeping, with explicit instructions that it only be opened if certain circumstances align. His voice trembles. She knew? Anne nods. She suspected the world would someday be ready. She also knew the monarchy would resist. She hands him the letter. His fingers shake as he accepts it. The wax seal breaks with a soft, heartbreaking snap. He reads silently. As his eyes move across the handwriting, emotions shift on his face. Recognition, grief, shock, and then finally something softer, peace. When he finishes, he closes the letter carefully as though returning it to memory rather than paper. Anne watches him quietly. What does it say? He looks at the window, rain streaking the glass like unspoken tears. That I was loved, that I was wanted, and that my existence was not a mistake. She wrote that if I ever came here, I should not seek permission, only the truth. Anne feels her posture soften. She was braver than any of us acknowledged. He nods. She was trying to build a future where the monarchy could be human, not perfect, just real. Anne returns to her seat. For generations, the crown has survived by guarding itself. But Diana understood something we refused to see. He looks at her gently. That the world no longer wants royalty hidden behind glass. For a moment, the fire crackles louder, filling the intimacy of the room. Anne finally speaks about the decision. You will remain private for now, but you will no longer live as a ghost. You will be introduced quietly to family members. Relationships, not headlines. Truth before announcement. He exhales, relief and gratitude blending. And the public? Anne pauses. When the time is right, the world will learn the truth, not through rumor or scandal, but through dignity. He nods slowly, accepting the weight and mercy of the decision. Thank you. Anne's voice softens, almost maternal. Your existence does not diminish this family. It reminds us of what we lost and what we must never forget again. The fire continues to burn. Outside, the rain begins to fade. History has not yet changed, but it has begun. Fade to black. Secrets long buried have a way of returning, and sometimes they reshape history rather than destroy it. If you want the next chapter of this hidden royal saga, subscribe, share, and stay with us. The truth is only beginning to rise, and the crown will never be the same again.